This is Jesse Marlowe of Power Baseball, and you're watching the Legends on Deck podcast with hosts Brian Koss and David Conde.
Welcome to episode 64 of the Legends on Deck podcast. I'm Brian Koss, and I'm back here in the captain's chair for our latest episode.
Welcome.
Thank you. My co-host David Conde is, of course, here. We had Dylan filling in for me for the last couple of episodes, and he did an awesome job with that, and I really appreciate Dylan stepping up to be part of the podcast team for Legends on Deck.
Well, I gotta say one more thing before you introduce our new guest is I'm very grateful you're back because I like to be on this side of the screen and in control. I like to sit back and let you lead. You know, we're a great team like that, so I had to lead a little bit. I think I did an okay job, but I'm
for sure
great. But I'm glad you're back.
We tried it one time, I think, where we reversed roles with you and I. And it didn't seem right. But if you're able to step in, I mean, I got to tell you, it's not that hard of a role to do the intro, but it's when you get used to doing something, that's just kind of how it is, right?
Yes.
But today our special guest is Bobby Simmons. Bobby's a former player and scout with the Houston Astros, and he's still involved in baseball today. Bobby, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. It's great to be a part of the show, and it's an honor to be a part of you guys' show. I think you have a great show and giving a platform for guys like myself who never got that platform. So, yeah, so honored to be a part of it and share my journey of the game that I love so much.
Well, we're happy to do it. I like the backdrop there too behind you with all the kind of some of the vintage pennants and all that. So very cool.
I think that's that looks like a man cave. I would say that's kind of where you go to kind of just think and be in the game mentally and kind of just let everything else go.
Yes, sir. This is my place, my little sanctuary where I come and just to relax. My baseball, all my baseball stuff here. You see behind me, I got my baseball scoreboard with the National League and the American League. I got the American League and the National League on the side, and I got that idea from the Mets.
Nice.
You know, so but anyway, yeah, it just keeps me young and it keeps me who I am, and you know, especially when you're dealing with the game of baseball, which is a great game, probably the best game on the planet Earth. I'm sorry, I'm sorry to offend other people, but it is one of the greatest games.
Yeah, you're not offending us.
Well, Bobby, we like to get started with the show. Kind of go back a little bit. Kind of, you know, who introduced you to the game when you were growing up? You know, what brought you to baseball? There's so many other sports out there that kids kind of go to. So who was the person, or what was the main thing that kind of just led you to baseball at a younger age?
Well, that's a good question, because I started playing baseball when I was probably 10 years old. My uncle at the time, he started a team back in 1976. I was about 10 years old. And I knew nothing about baseball other than just playing in the neighborhood. So he started it, and that kind of got me started a little bit, interested into the game. And then from there, I moved on over to Little League when I turned 11. And I started playing Little League ball. I enjoyed the game, but I wasn't that great at it, I guess. I bat at 000, if you can believe that. 000. Who bats 000? Nobody who can't hit a baseball, right? Probably a kid that's running from the ball. That's what I was doing. But anyway, but my uncle, and I had another uncle who was a great softball player. He was a guy that was everybody looked up to in my town. And by the way, I grew up in a very small town in eastern North Carolina, a place called LaGrange, North Carolina, which is close to Kinston. And Kinston had a minor league team they called the Kinston Blue Jays back in the days. But being introduced to the game by them and just playing in the neighborhood with the kids during my time, doing that, we just played ball, man. We played all the sports and so forth, and I would just play. But baseball was my love. For some reason, I had a knack for baseball. And again, after I told you I batted 000, I said, look, man, I can't do this again. So it came around to my fall year when I was when I was 12, but in the off season, I played a lot of baseball, and I played a lot of stick ball, a lot of strikeout ball with my friends. And we used to throw a tennis ball up against the wall just as hard as we can to strike each other out. And man, that's when I learned how to hit.
Yeah.
That's when I learned how to hit. So it changed my life. So, but yeah, just by my uncles and just other guys. I see a lot of older guys in the area that play baseball and so forth. I grew up with my great grandmother, so she, didn't have a father in the house. So I had to learn what was around me, and so forth. So, but anyway, the love of the game came when I got more involved in the game at the Little League stage, because baseball was our game in a small town. So when we had a baseball game, everybody, just about half the town would be there to watch the game. Everybody loved it. So, and of course, with that love, I just fell in love with it and got better, man. I mean, when I was 12 years old, I was already a good pitcher. I had a good arm, had good speed, had a good arm. It's pretty strong for my age. But, that's how I fell in love with the game. And from 12 years old and 13 on up, I started watching, the game on TV and so forth, and watching guys like watching my Yankees play when Reggie Jackson was hitting home runs left and right. I never forget that World Series. So, but yeah, that's how I got started in the game and got the love for the game. And as time progressed, as I got 13 years old, that's when things really took off for me. That's when I really took it to a different level. And then that level sparked me again watching Major League Baseball, and then going to watch the minor league teams in my area. And people started, I just made a total big turn. And I realized, baseball's for me. I played football and basketball, no good at basketball, pretty decent at football. But baseball, man, you couldn't take a bat out of my hand. I was one of those kids that it can be raining, sleeting outside. I'd be outside hitting baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, I got started in the game that way by introduced to other players. I mean, my uncles and a lot of the other older adults in the area.
So you brought up so many memories for me. I remember we had a brick wall in one of these buildings around the corner from my house, and we put a box there, and then we take the tennis ball and get the stick, and we just see who can strike you out. And that was just our game right there. I don't know if I hurt my arm throwing a tennis ball, but at that time it didn't matter. But it just brought back so many memories. Back then I think baseball was the pure, right? Everybody just go out and play it. And nowadays, kids are, some kids are not out doing it as much in video games. And you point a point of coming in at 10 years old. I coach youth baseball up to 16 years old. Some of the kids, coming at 12, 13, have never played the game, and they just want to try it out. So, it's a tough time at that age to come in because other kids are a little more advanced. But if you can gravitate to the game at that age and do well with it, your example, you ended up playing professional ball, which is going to lead to my next question, but it's something where you start at a later age than some kids start nowadays, but it still led you to where you kind of, along the baseball path. So my next question is, when did you know that you can play professionally?
Oh, man. I think when I turned about, when you starting off with 13 is my prime example, because that's when my career took off. In terms of me being a great player, but a good player. I'm not going to put myself up too high, but anyway, basically we got to stay humble. But yeah, 13 is, when we moved to the larger bases, the 90s, and I was hitting the ball. I was batting over 400 and playing shortstop, had a good arm and so forth. And then I turned 15, same thing there, because I was getting stronger and so forth. When I got about 16, and that's when everybody was talking about me. Everybody was talking about me. They would tell me the scouts coming around looking at you and so forth. The scouts looking at me, really. And then from there, I got introduced to play with a men's semi-pro league back in the days, where a lot of guys played pro ball, or guys that had played ball. These are older guys, like in the 30s, like 25, 30 years old. Now I'm like 16 years old. And I started playing with them, and that's really, so man, I could play with these guys. And so, but anyway, as I got older, got in high school and so forth, and, I just realized, man, hey, man, I can play this thing. Everybody's, saying, hey, Bob, you can do it. I feel like I can do it because I enjoy the game that much. And then again, going to the minor league part, watching you guys play the minor league part, oh, man, guys ain't that good, ain't no good at I am. So that's when it really started getting me. So that's when but once I realized that, then I started preparing myself. But my goal was to go to college first. If I get to college, then I can get to pro ball. And so I started just sitting down, writing a lot of different teams. I was a sophomore in high school. I was writing all these different team colleges and so forth, trying to, so again, I grew up in a small area. Nobody didn't come down to see us that much. So I started doing all of that, and I started getting some response too from different colleges. But anyway, just going on playing the game. I was a great pitcher, good pitcher. I could have went both ways, a pitcher and a shortstop. And it's just the word getting out. The word got out to me, got out. Hey, this guy he got some good hands, got some good speed, and so forth. And I started watching more baseball at minor league level, and then watching pro ball and seeing these guys play. I think I got a shot here. So I just prepared myself. I started working harder each day. After practice, I would stay after practice, long hours. I would get there before the game, before practice and so forth. And I took my practices very serious. That's one thing I learned to say, you practice like you play. So if I practice good, I want to play good. But if I practice like crap, then I'm probably gonna play like crap. I know it's kind of crazy, but that was my motto. I had to go in there, so I had to be perfect. When I go to practice, I was just serious about everything I did. Everybody around me saw that, and they knew I had a love for the game. But I also know, hey man, I'm gonna take this game a little bit farther. I want to, go to college. I want to play pro ball and play as long as I can. I just want to play the game as long as I could. So that's where my passion came in. It's just loving the game and just want to continue to play ball, man. So now when I got to the pro level, it was different. Yeah. Now I took on a different meaning.
So basically, you were the Shohei Ohtani of baseball from that time.
Yes, exactly. Right. You got it.
That's right. Now it's actually great. I think it's a great lesson. I've heard from when you certain athletes have said, very successful athletes, like Kobe Bryant and other people said that if every kid practices, 20 minutes a day, over time, you're going to get better and better and better. I've heard it attributed to different people, right? But baseball is one of those games that's a repetition sort of game. I guess basketball would be too, or other sports as well. But it's that daily grind and that repetition, the story that you're telling, it took you to the next level because you're willing, and also the willingness to do what other people aren't doing, right? Everybody else goes home from practice and you stay an extra 30 minutes, an extra hour working on your skills. And, you're just going to stand out more. I mean, you're going to get better at the more you do it. So I think that's a good lesson. It's a good lesson for those out there. They're like, hey, I want to make it. Well, are you willing to, put in the extra work? Because that's really what it ends up coming down to.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You got to put in the work. If you don't put in the work, you won't succeed in anything. And I don't care like the guys at the big league will tell me, the guys at the big league level will tell you, any successful person, even when you get there, you still got to put the work in. It's all about putting the work in, and you got to make the sacrifice too. I didn't make sacrifices, man. I didn't date nobody in high school, man. I left the women alone, man, because they told, hey, Bob, don't get caught up with the women. So I had to make a sacrifice. So I didn't date. I was just focused on what I was trying to do, trying to get to the next level, trying to get to college and trying to get to pro ball. Now, say once you got to pro ball, of course, the women are going to be there. But anyway, so that just stayed in my mind, man. It kept me out of trouble and so forth in order for me to make it. Because I hear so many stories of guys that was really great, but again, they faltered along the way. They didn't put the time in, or they allowed other things to get in the way and so forth. And I know I had a bunch of my team that I played with. There was a lot of great guys that went on to pro ball, but some of those guys, they want to hang in the street. They want to do things outside of the game that would get them in trouble. But not me, man. I was on a mission. I was on a mission. And I knew I had to work hard, because in order to get there, I had to work hard. I just couldn't. Even if I get there, I had to work hard. That's just who I was. I just believe in putting the work in, like you said, Ryan, like I said earlier, putting the work in, man. And that's going to determine how far you go.
No doubt. No doubt. So you did get your shot at professional baseball. I understand you were drafted in the 6th round, and by the Astros. And so what is your, going back to that experience? Now that I'm thinking about it, did you end up playing college ball first before you?
Yeah, I did. My last year in high school, the state tournament.
Yep.
We had I had a couple of teams come up to me. Of course, the scouts were still looking at me then. I had Virginia Tech want to give me a full ride.
Oh, wow.
But I also had this other JUCO called Lewisburg College, which is one of the best colleges on the East Coast here. And the Coach Frazier, which is a legendary coach, and Coach Avent, which is at NC State for the last 27 years. So the scouts wanted me, Bob, if you go to this 2-year school, we can draft you the first year. And granted, I was about almost going on 19 when I graduated high school. So, okay, let me go to this 2-year school. They say it's a powerhouse school. A lot of scouts. It's almost like a minor league team there. So anyway, I went to school at Lewisburg College, and man, we had about at least eight guys on my team that got drafted. That just tells you how powerful that school was. And I decided when I got drafted, I decided, what, I'm just going to go into pro ball. I was already 19, going on 20, man. So they want to get you while you're young. You got a lot of guys coming from black countries coming into 14, 15 years old. And I said, I'm going on 20 years old. Let me just go ahead and get my shot now. Because I was ready for it. And I did. So I went to Lewisburg College, didn't play a lot, but the time I did play, I had a pretty good year. And then talking about the transition over to pro ball, man, that was probably the best experience I ever had. I don't think anything can top that, man. Because I got pro ball, it was just like a dream come true. You're around all these players. So I was in rookie league. In rookie league, where I was in Sarasota, Florida, you had like 3 teams sharing the same locker room. The Astros, the Reds, and the Royals. So I got a chance to meet all these guys, that's coming in for the first time. And a lot of those guys went on to the big leagues as well. But pro ball, you really work your butt off, especially during the heat of the summer. Where I was. Now, I thought I worked hard, man. I was working. They had me working over triple time there, man. They had my boy working triple time. I was so tired, I would just go home and just fall asleep. But it was good, though, because I learned, because all that repetition made me better.
Yep.
It made me better. It made me appreciate the game. It just, and also having good instructors, too, at that level during that time. So, but yeah, that's my journey in pro ball in terms of that first year. So now stop me from moving ahead of you, Brian, with the question.
No, you're good. You're good. So,
Because I keep talking, man.
But one thing I do want to say is that was 1986.
that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
So that was the year that the Astros went to the NLCS against the Mets.
That's right.
So it was good that you were part of that organization. But we got past them because you guys had a great pitching staff. The major league level did that year. I didn't think we were gonna win, so it was a miracle that the Mets won. But it was good. I guess it was good for you to be a part of that organization back then.
It was. It was great for me to be part of it because I got a chance to meet these guys, man. Spring training, and see those guys. Again, the first time ever in a long time they got the playoffs. So yeah, I was happy to be a part of it. During that time, it's great years. And like I said, we had some good instructors. We had a guy named Gene Kleins. He just passed 2 years ago, I believe. He was a hit instructor for it. He hung out with Dusty. Him and Dusty was best friends. Everywhere Dusty went, he went.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty Baker. And I had guys like Bert Campanellis, who was a great infield coach. And just a lot of other guys, man. I can name a lot of guys I played with. And a lot of guys that they went on to the big leagues, and a lot of guys that saw me a couple years later said, Bob, you're supposed to be here, man. What happened? But anyway, what happened in my career is a shoulder injury. And I'll probably talk more about that later. Shoulder injury because I was a pitcher / again, I was drafted as an infielder, third baseman. So, but also I was a pitcher as well. So I think with all the wear and tear and the proper not taking care of my arm in the off season, doing a lot of weightlifting and so forth, it kind of tore it down. And then I went on to another organization. So, but we go more on that journey when we get there. I don't know if we want to talk about it now. So,
oh yeah, no, you're good.
Like I say, I'll be jumping ahead, man.
Nah, you sharing your story, brother. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Okay.
So the you describe the the kind of the excitement of getting in as at a professional level. And just getting the whole experience, spring training, locker room, all that stuff, and the work that you had to put in. What was now you said you were playing rookie ball. Were you at some point were you able to go out on the road as a minor leaguer and experience that part of the game as well?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, when I came up when I left Houston, I came up to Baltimore and played in a league up here where we traveled. In an independent league up here in Baltimore area, so I got just a chance to go to different areas in Baltimore. That league I did not, because that league was more structured for within a 50-mile radius.
Okay.
So that's gotta remember, that's like spring training. We were down in Sarasota, Florida. Sarasota, Florida, you had the Orioles, you have the White Sox at that time. Just the whole quarter of spring training is where we played at in that area.
Yeah, so the Orioles are still down there, but the White Sox I think moved out to Arizona, so we had that. But no, it's pretty exciting, I imagine, from that jump from the dream finally realized, right?
Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, even though my career didn't last as long as I wanted to be, but you know what? I lived my dream. I tell kids, man, hey, I lived the dream, man, and I gave it my best.
That's right.
That's all you can do. So, but the guys traveling again. I was in that league for about for the whole year. We traveled from different places, but I also know my other buddies who was playing too, and I followed them when I got out of the game, and the travel is it's a lot of wear and tear on the guys. It really is. You're not getting paid a lot of money. At that time, you get when rookie ball, you're getting $700 a month. I know it's 1986, but here in the last 20 years, guys, up until this year, they just passed. I think they just passed I think Major League Baseball now is going to finally give these guys some money in the minor league. They don't make no money.
Right.
None. But hey, that's a sacrifice you got to pay to be in the minor leagues, to give you that drive to move up to the next level. And,
Bobby, everyone always says, hey, professional baseball player, I'm going to make it to the majors. They don't realize the grind. People don't really understand the game, don't understand the grind of the game, what it takes to get there. It's not like basketball and football. You kind of the avenue is a little bit quicker to pro ball than it would be for baseball. But you know what? You went from the kid batting 0-0-0 to actually having a batting average, right, on a professional level. That means that you had success in baseball where probably other people did not. So you reached that level. And if it wasn't for an arm injury, you probably would have run a lot further with your career.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think that experience you had has kind of propelled you to, get into your next career after that, and then your coaching career after that. And any child you talk to today, you have reached the professional level. You played at the professional level. You knew what it took to get to that level. And that's an inspiration to anybody that wants to play baseball, because it's not easy to get to that level. You have to be good on a very good level of your local, the talent and everything in the generation you're in to reach that level, and you did that. So when everybody says, "Oh, but he only made professional baseball." I didn't make professional baseball. I would have loved to play professional baseball. I love this game more than anything. I just didn't have the tools to make it that high. But I appreciate the ones that did, because I understand the struggle. I understand what you guys have to go through, and the day and night. I have a lot of friends in the game, and I see all the hard work they put in, and I try to relate that to the kids now, is that you really want this. There's no, you can't quit. You gotta push forward. So no matter what, you play pro ball, that's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, and it is, people say, hey, some people say, hey, you play semi-pro. No, that's an insult to me. They ain't play no semi-pro. I play pro ball. That's an insult to anybody like myself who love the game and got to what they did. But yeah, you just getting to that level. Like I say, I talk to these kids. I try to put the emphasis on them to not give up. But also work hard. Your dream can come true, and even if it lasts 15 minutes, man. Hey, you ain't got. Just give it your best. Give it your all. Give it your all. You cannot look back on anything and say, "Hey, I wish I could have done this. I wish I did that." But also, don't stop playing the game. Just because your career got cut short or you didn't make the program, still continue to play, man. I played many years after. I just stopped playing it. I just recently stopped playing at 48 years old. And I came back and made a comeback this year. Our team wanted me to play with them at, I'm 50, I was 58, 59, 58, I'm sorry. And I played, and it wasn't bad, but again, I'm wearing glasses now, buddy. So it ain't like I got different set of eyes. I can't see the ball like I used to. So, but anyway, better move on to my next story with coaching and so forth. But yeah, it is an honor for anybody to play pro ball, and to even play college ball. It's an honor. You know what I mean? So a lot of guys don't get a chance, but if you work hard and put the time in and believe in yourself, you got to believe in yourself. I think that's the one thing I try to instill in the kids. You try to go out there, not trying to impress anybody, but be the best you can be. But also, obviously, you want to win. Yeah. That's how the game. You want to win now. If you don't want to win, you're just gonna go out there and you're just gonna waste space, time, and it's not gonna make the other guys get better either, because they're trying and you're not trying. So yeah, you got to have a willpower to continue to want to improve on yourself, because baseball is really a game against yourself, man. It ain't like football or basketball. You compete and try to knock somebody down or try to dunk over somebody. Hey man, it's you and that little white ball that's coming towards you, man, every time. Yeah. That's the thing you got to conquer, that little white ball, which a lot of people cannot do. So,
right after it looked like your career was going to be over, you went into scouting.
Yeah.
How did that transition happen? What were you thinking when they asked you to do it, and how were you able to kind of put your full effort into it like you did playing the game?
Well, like I said, when I got out of the game, when I couldn't get back in because of the injury and the injuries that I had, I could have got surgery on it, but I did not. They like not to do surgery because I don't do surgery. But anyway, one of the scouts that scouted me said, Bob, hey, man, the older guy, played in the big leagues for years in the 40s and 50s. How you like being a scout? So, okay. Yeah, that'll work. The only other thing to keep me around the game, right? So, in the area, I had Virginia, Maryland, and D.C. So those three areas I had to scout when I got out of the game. So I did that. And it's got quite a few good guys. I mean, it's been a while ago since I can't remember all the guys' name, but Brian Cashman, the GM for the Yankees, he was one guy I was looking at as well. So that's the name that really stands out.
Yeah.
But no, the scout, it was fun. It's fun to go out there and evaluate guys. You know, I still want to be playing. I'd rather be on the field playing than anything else. But hey, at least I was around the game, man. I did the best I can do. And I said scout was the best thing to me. And that was fun. To me, it was fun just going out and evaluating guys based on the things that we look for. But what I really look for as a scout, the biggest thing I look for is the willpower to succeed. The willpower to be perfect. And I say perfect, someone who goes out, like I said earlier, goes out there and give it his all. And a guy that goes out and play and practice like he played. Hopefully you have a good practice. You're supposed to practice. When you have practice, you're supposed to be working on perfection. So that's what I look for. I talk to the coaches and so forth about these guys, as a scout, three things you got to have: speed, power, and, you got to have some athleticism, in order to play this game. I don't care what game you play. So those three things I look at, and you can kind of, narrow down to other things to look for in the kid. So, but definitely that willpower, man. I like to see a kid who's out there who's actually want to be on the field, and not only be on the field, but want to make a difference on this team. That's going to get you over the hump, and that's what the scouts saw in me. They saw my willpower, other than my strength, my quick hands, because I do like quick hands, especially for hitters. But they saw the willpower that I had, the time I put into it, and so forth. But yep. But it was a great transition.
Very cool. So, what period of time and over what period of time did you work on the scouting side?
About 10 years.
About 10 years. Okay.
About 10 years. I did 10 years. Now again, I was just an area scout. I wasn't a regional scout. Regional scout go all, the whole region, but I was an area scout, which is good. Trying to get my feet in the door, go to the next level. And but even that was hard too, to get to the next level, man. Everything is hard. Because you got to sign X amount of players and hope they make it to the big leagues and all that type of stuff. And a lot of those older guys, they won't giving up their spot, man. They won't giving up those spots, man. They love the game too much to give up their spots. But it was fun.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So over the decades, and we'll talk, some of the things that you're doing now, but you've seen the game as a player coming up late 70s, early 80s, into the 80s, as a kid, and then as a scout. So you're working in with maybe 3 decades of experience there, and now we're 20 years ahead of that. So, what ways have you seen the game change over the years? What ways do you think there might be a good thing? Which ways do you think it might be a negative thing? What insight do you have on that, or opinions might you have on that?
Well, my opinion's not too good. Well, you're looking back from the 80s up until now. Yeah. There's some good things, good points, and there's some bad points. The good points are the kids got everything at their exposure, man. You got social media, you got YouTube, you got all these different places you can go get training and instructions and all that. And now you got travel ball, kids playing every day. So that's a good thing. But on the bad side of it is I don't know. I think the kid need to. My thing is, in the game itself, it took away from the game itself. The game was about execution, getting on base, scoring runs. Nowadays, guys are trying to hit home runs, and nowadays, these young guys come to you, they're like they know everything, because they don't watch video and everything. They don't know everything. You see all sorts of flaws, man. As a scout, I see all these sorts of flaws. In them, and you try to teach it to them, and some listen, don't get me wrong, some listen, then some don't. they still continue to do the same thing they were doing before. So and they get a little bit hot-headed today. And back in the days, we didn't have this here, man. So you had to make something. If you didn't watch it on TV, you had to make the best of what you had. We didn't have all the instruction that we have now. But again, it's good that they got all the instruction, but sometimes you can get too much instruction from too many people, and they can screw your head up, man. So, but the game itself at the major league level,
yeah,
as you know, I don't know if Major League Baseball doing a great job of it, because I don't like this shift. Thank God they went back to the regular setup of just not shifting from one side of the field to the other side of the field. And then you got you put a guy on second base, and you go into extra innings just because it's time delay or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, notice.
Changing the game to make it a little bit more like, let's get it over with so we can move on to the next one where the game's being played. Let the game be played out. Back in the day, 16 innings was like, wow, these guys are still going. And now they want to end it at 11 because they put a guy at second base and make them score faster. So I'm on the same boat with you. I don't like that.
No, I don't either. I think they're playing it more like Little League. I hate to tell you.
Yeah.
They ain't playing the game. I don't know. They ain't playing the game straight up, man. Let the guys play.
Yeah.
Let them play, But anyway, but also, the other things that, with the bat flipping and all that, the guys want to have a little more fun. I don't have a problem with that, guys having fun. But sometimes we know this game can humble you, man. You can be in the dugout, team getting all fired up. Next thing you know, you're down by 2 or 3 runs when you was up by 4 or 5 runs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can have your fun, but also, you got to remember, this game is going to humble you, man. And I just like to see the guys tone it down a little bit. It's all right to have fun, but, I'm old school, so I just. But I understand.
Yeah, no doubt. The one thing that you mentioned there that I heard was, it used to be the focus on contact and getting on base, right? And now everything is so power home run centric, right? You see Major League Baseball players hitting 40 home runs that are batting 230.
198.
Or 188. Yeah, who was 188? Schwarber.
Yeah.
Bob, sorry, Schwarber. We still want Schwarber on the show. So hate to name names. But you look at it, it's kind of confusing, because I know that some of the metrics are a little bit different. I mean, I know on base percentage matters because that goes into OPS, right? So, and slugging percentage matters. So if you put those two together, but why is batting average seem to have taken a sidebar to everything else?
That's a good question, because I think the launch angle, trying to get these kids to hit up to the, try to hit under the ball and lift it instead of hitting down through the ball or hit line drives. Nobody's hit for average, man. And that's, again, you hit the ball. Prime example, to go back to Carl Schwarber, nothing against him. I think
exactly.
When you got a home run hitter leading off, man, what did that tell you?
Right.
Anyway.
I mean, it's you look at these guys, like I'm thinking,
I'm sorry.
I'm growing up. I grew up. I'm a little bit. David and I are about 10 years apart. So David was the '86 Mets were more of like I was 2 years old at the time, right? So, but I do remember, late '80s, early '90s, guys like Wade Boggs, guys like Tony Gwynn, guys that would they hit 8 home runs a year, but they batted 350 or higher. And it was such an important role that they played on the team. And then it's like, hey, nobody bats 350 anymore. I mean, even your batting champions at like 325. I think Luis Suarez might have hit 350 this year, and it was like unheard of. It's just interesting to me, and I think you're right about the launch angle and the focus on putting the ball up in the air versus just getting up there, hitting the ball, and getting on base and scoring runs.
Yeah, just hit the ball where it's pitched.
Yeah.
Your job is to put it in the hit it where they're not, right? So your job is not to go up there and jack home runs. That's what you got your fourth and fifth, sixth guy. Maybe those guys do that. But not your home run hitters, the third guy. No. Those guys put the ball in play. Look at Barry Bonds. Great example. That guy was probably one of the best hitters of my time. And I met Barry back in 1984, right before I got out of high school. He came down to my league, and I talked to him just for a few seconds because I was trying to go to Arizona State. But anyway, Barry was a lean guy, and he just put the bat on the ball, man. If you watch his swings, it's very short, compact swing, making contact. And when you make contact, you put that backspin on the ball's going to take off. So, but this hitting under the ball, trying to lift the ball, like I said, this guy's going to bat about 210, 220, and that's terrible, man. Back in the days, you bat 210 or 220, or you won't have a job, man.
You don't have a team.
You won't have a job. And these guys getting paid today. They getting paid big money to hit 200.
Right.
So,
yeah, you know.
But yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hmm?
No, I'm saying you make a great point. Like, you know, when I tell the kids nowadays, say, "Hey, coach, what's my velo?" I'm like, first of all, I don't know. All I care about, if you can hit gap to gap, I need you on base. I'm old school. I have speed on top, my contact hitters. I got the power in the middle, and then at the back end of the lineup, guys who can get on base and have a little bit of speed, and you kind of go. You're gonna score more runs that way than waiting for everyone to hit a home run or hit the ball over the fence. I tell the kids, don't worry about that. Gap to gaps. And I keep the stats, and I show them. And I think this was the first year I kind of shared the stats with them. And I said, Coach, why do you take stats? Because I want to see where you do well in the lineup. I want to see how well you do hitting the ball. And I'm going to show you the stats on, okay, you're batting, like my son got interested this year. Dad, I'm batting 600. Yeah, you are, you know, a little bit amount of at bats. But it kind of teaches them, hey, it's not just a home run. I don't care about that. Let's get on base. We can score more runs by you guys getting on base than just waiting for one. I tell my son, for waiting for you to jack it over the fence. That's one run, or maybe four. You know, that's not a base hit, a base after base after base hit. You keep scoring runs. Don't get me wrong. I love the home run hit. I love the home run like anyone else, and I know kids would love to hit the ball over the fence. That's a big accomplishment. But I'm on page with you. It's like it has to be, to me, the average is the most important thing, if anything else. Everything else comes with that.
Man, when you have a college coach come around or even a pro scout come around, they're not looking for everybody to hit home runs. They're looking for somebody to put the ball in play.
Yeah.
You know, you 5'6", 5'8", trying to jack the ball. No, don't do that. Put it in play, man. I guarantee you get more looks when you put the ball in play. You see a guy that can spray the ball to different fields. To me, that's what I look for. To me, that's a ball player.
Yeah.
Now you got a guy like Judge size. Well, he should hit home runs. Come on, man.
Right.
What do you expect?
Yeah, the big guys, you can't help it. They're gonna jack it anyway. But if you got a big guy that can bat, with a good average, and when he does not just going for the home run, he's hitting in the gaps, doubles off the fence and stuff like that. You know, line drive shots up the middle. I mean, that's just like, that's a ball player right there. Other than the ball players that don't do it, but like you said, at the end of the day, they're getting paid big money to hit it over the fence, and I think it makes baseball boring a little bit, because if you just wait for the home run, it's not doing anything else.
Because nobody want to come see strikeouts, man.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pitchers. Good pitchers with either hit or not, man. Every time you see all those loops in the swing, because he's trying to jack everything.
Yeah,
that's why the game. The pitchers are actually starting to dominate. They start studying players a lot better now with the analytics now that you have all over sports in general. People, using especially in pro ball, they're using analytics to this guy hits this play, this guy hits that play. But that's something the pitcher should already know. The pitcher should be focused on. He should be thinking at all times about his batters, and the batter should be focused at all times about the pitcher, what he likes to throw, what type of pitch he's throwing. Can you get behind the count, or do you want to stay ahead of the count? All those things. So yeah, it's taken away from the game, man. And the people want to come out. I know the home run is great, but the home run is only great when you got man on bases, though.
That's right.
Yeah, Jeter hitting a leadoff home run doesn't do. I mean, I'm sorry, Judge hitting a leadoff home run doesn't really help the team when he can hit a 3-run home run or a grand slam home run. You know, I'm saying by leading off the game, you know, come up base loaded, beginning of the game, first inning, you want him batting fourth, third, fourth. You don't want him batting lead off. I don't understand that concept. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, that's just again, you got a guy that should be hitting fourth or fifth or sixth, and he lead off. Your leadoff man is normally the guy that can get on base. That's the guy that sets the table. Exactly. That's the man there, that leadoff guy. And that second guy, he's right behind him. That third guy comes in with some power to move him over. So, you know, there's different levels. It basically in the lineup where these players play a role. You know, each spot, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they play a spot in the batting lineup. So everybody can't go out there hitting jacking home runs, man. It's not, you ain't gonna win no games. But yeah.
Yeah. You know, for someone like me that coaches in the game, coaches youth in the game, I think you have a very good perspective of someone who's been in the game for a long time, and you come from different angles of the game. So tell us a little bit about your current team you're coaching, and kind of describe what your coaching philosophy is.
Well, the team I'm coaching now is a travel team. I help coach one of my other partners. We travel throughout the East Coast and playing at different tournaments. It's 18 and over. You guys are 18 to 25. A lot of them guys want to play pro ball. A lot of guys who have played pro ball. And it's a pretty good competitive league, depending on where you are, which tournament you're playing in. Like we just came out of a tournament down in Orlando. And that tournament was pretty competitive. You had a lot of guys that play pro ball, you know, and so forth. So, you know, but it also gives the kid chances, 18, you know, 20, 23, 25, a chance to still play ball, but also give them a chance maybe to get back into pro ball. So I like coaching those guys. That's what I'm working with now. You know, that group to try to help them with certain things they may be lacking in. You know, just a little bit of advice here. But my coaching philosophy, my basic coaching philosophy is 5 things. Number 1, respect the game. Number 2, respect the umpires. Number 3, definitely respect the manager. Mm-hmm. And number 4, go out, give it your best and have fun doing it. If they can remember that's all I ask for the guys. If you can't remember those things, then obviously you can't play for me.
Well, you know,
so I try to make it simple.
Yeah,
I try to make it very simple. And most of the guys that I've been coaching and you know, I've been part of, they've done just that. I had maybe one troublemaker in the last 15 years. He thought he knew everything, but why not? He didn't know as much as he thought he did. Because the other coaches say, "Oh, we don't want him on our team, Bob. If he can't get up to be on your team, we don't want him."
You know, I never knew that there was a travel team above 18 years old. You know, higher than that. You know, you hear about the travel teams that the youth, you know, the high school age, kind of that, you know, getting them ready for high school age. But it was one thing that what brought me to you when I saw you on Facebook was you mentioned something on Facebook about travel ball less than 10 years old. And I kind of agree with you that kids maybe less than 10 shouldn't be playing travel, that, you know, maybe that's, you know, let them play rec ball, little league. And then after the age when you're ready to go to high school and stuff, maybe then that's the time to kind of jump into travel ball.
Yeah. Just like I just told you about my career, right? Yeah. I didn't start developing until about 12 years old.
Yep.
You know, I was still learning the game, man. Like I said, you got guys coming in the game and play the game, just starting to play. And you have guys, kids that have been playing for a while too, but still, it's better to play in your own backyard and try to get good and focus on the game there. Plus, it takes the toll off the parents. Mm-hmm. Plus, the kids can study now. I mean, they can actually realize I go to school for a reason, right? You don't go to school to play baseball. You go to school to get to the next level, you know, to graduate. But it's too much toll, man. It wears down on the kids, man, to the point where, you know, it's just tire them out, man. I don't want to play no more baseball. It's too much.
Yeah.
And I seen kids walk away from the game because they play too much baseball.
Yeah.
You know, and also the parents get to the point where they pushing the kid to the point where he decides he just don't want to play no more. You know, and I had sad to say with my own child, I didn't push him. He was 11 years old. Dad, I don't play no more baseball. I said, why? He said, I just don't want to play. I said, okay. So I didn't want to push him because everything is about baseball in my house anyway at the time. And I didn't want to push him, man. He wanted to play basketball. And now he's about 6'5", 6'6". He's 24 years old now. He played basketball in college. So that's where he wanted to go. I would love him to play baseball at that size. I'm only 5'10", man. It is nice for me. But now travel ball is too much for the kids. It's just too much for them, man. 10 and up, definitely 10 and under. And I see a lot of teams in the area here, they got travel balls, the kids going to Florida, going all over the country. That's a lot of, when do kids get a chance to study?
Mm-hmm.
When they get a chance to be a kid?
Yeah.
Now, there's some kids, and as you know, a lot of these kids are not that good. They're just playing because the mom and dad just paid them the money to be on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, you really ain't getting the best of the best. You're just getting kids that's just traveling. Now, back in the days, we didn't have travel ball. We had different levels of the game based on your talent. We had, just mentioned it earlier, American Legion ball. Mm-hmm. Everybody couldn't play American Legion ball. Mm-hmm. You had to be like an all-star on your team or a conference player or something like that in the state. But now these kids, we just making it too easy for us. I mean, if you got kids that are great, like Bryce Harper was, you put them in different programs.
Yeah.
Guys, put those guys in different programs because they're above their league. But yeah, that's why I disagree with the 10 and under. And almost with the 12 and under, but I get the 12 a little bit benefit of the doubt. But I still rather have 13 though. I'll still stick with 13.
My son, both of them play baseball. One of them played a little bit of high school baseball and switched over to wrestling. It kind of broke my heart when he did that. But you know what? He has to find his path. He loves it. 4-year wrestler. He played baseball, and he hit the part where he wanted to stop. And my younger one plays. But the one thing I always did was, here in Florida, we can play year round if we want to, but we play Little League and we stop in June, and we had summer with the family. And I would shut them down, and they weren't picking up a baseball to the end of the summer. Pick it up again, and then we'll start up again in the fall and play again. And I know my youngest now wants to play different sports when he kind of gets into high school, and I'm okay with that. But I think it's not for every kid. The travel ball season and stuff is a lot of baseball. Some kids, if you just let them do what they want to do, they'll play. Like my son loves to fish, so weekends he's fishing, weekdays he's playing baseball, and he gets the best of both worlds, and I'm happy with that. But you're right, a lot of parents want to push. They feel like scouts are looking at their kid at 12 years old, and nobody's looking at 12 years old.
Ain't no Bryce Harper, man. Come on.
You'd be surprised. Look, there's some rankings out there. There's middle school rankings out there. You'd be surprised who's looking. But I think ultimately what we're talking about is some of this. With kids, you can only push a kid, in a direction you want to push them in for so long. I mean, they're ultimately going to make up their own minds. So, if it's in them to go one direction, it's in them. If it's not, it's not. And no parent, no parental encouragement or somebody that wants to get their kid scouted isn't going to make the kid want to play. So ultimately it's about the kid and whether or not they have the drive to do it like you did. You discovered that drive in that age bracket, and I would say maybe different kids discover that passion at a different time, and then it clicks in place, and then they go with it.
Right. And just piggyback on something what David said about, the travel ball and the kids. Kids, like he said about growth, kids are still growing, man. Give them time to grow. Give them time to have an all season. That's what the all season's for, to work on the other things. And I also think playing different sports does make a difference. When I played football my junior year, and man, I did not really want to play football. You know why? Because I didn't want to get injured. I didn't want to mess up my baseball. But the coach came to me and said, "Hey, Bob, I heard you're this great athlete, and I just moved to this school from another school. And he said, I heard you play, you're a great baseball player for the people to tell me, but I just heard you was a good athlete. He said, you want to play football?" I said, "Yeah, But he also said, hey, when the scouts come around and start talking, they're going to know, can this guy play more than one sport? And that hit me hard there. Yeah, he's right about that. So I played football for 2 years, and I did pretty decent for a guy.
If you're playing different sports, you've got an opportunity to grow in different ways athletically. You know, it's pretty common is what I hear from other people is that, you know, if you can work different muscles and work different coordination with each sport has its own, skill set. So, you know, a benefit from football or a benefit from basketball or soccer or whatever it is, could add into a baseball player's, their tools and what they're able to do on the baseball field.
Right. But it's just good for the kids to have an off season. Just take a little break from baseball. I'm not saying they can't go to a training facility, get get instructions on field and hitting. Nothing wrong with that, but give the kids some time to take off, man.
Yeah.
No
so doubt. They can come back next year and be ready to play.
There's no doubt. I mean, even we say in Florida it's all year baseball, but I mean, reality is that there's at least the holidays are off. It's you're at least a 2-month gap there, and sometimes in the summer between. I mean, as you get older, the summer becomes a bigger time for showcases and all that. So you kind of lose that off season as the kids get older. But as a kid, there's at least some gaps between the seasons, and you could fill them with other things.
Yeah, exactly right.
Absolutely. Exactly. Well, Bobby, we're going to wrap it up here in a second, but we really we enjoyed first of all hearing your story. It was great. It's great to get the whole history of you and your unique story and how you came up in the game. Every time we do one of these episodes, David, I think we hear something new from somebody.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting, when did people pick up the game and when did it take off for them? And then of course, Bobby, your lifelong passion that you're continuing to this day, which is really cool to hear about as well. Another great episode of Legends on Deck. David, you want to take it over with the sponsors for a minute?
Just thank Easy Mortgage once again for allowing us to be on the, to do this every time we get an episode out, 64 episodes. It's been an amazing ride. I mean, we got more to go. We got so many more interesting people to meet and share their story. And, like Bobby said earlier, just sharing the story of people that no one really knows about, no one really knew what they went through to get to that next level. So who knows who's he going to inspire to someone else that says, hey, I'm 10 years old, or I want to play baseball now. Granted, it is a different era of the game, but the hard work is the same way. You put the hard work in, you can get to wherever you want to, to achieve the goals that you have. So just having the guests that we've had on that continue to do that, this is what Legends on Deck is for. This is why we have that platform. So we're so grateful to have you on, Bobby. One other thing is we want to show anyone that wants to wear the Legends on Deck gear. We have our merch page. Brian's probably going to pick up some more gear to wear, but just help support the podcast. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify. We have our website. Everyone just go click on become a subscriber, because you're gonna continue to get some great episodes. We have 63 previous ones you can check out with some great people we've had on, and we're gonna so much more. And this one's gonna come out and just be another great episode on the platform. So everyone just go out and subscribe.
Can I share one more thing?
Yes.
One thing I like to share, and you just mentioned it, David. The great thing about your platform, right? And I know as a kid growing up, I aspired to play the game of baseball. I didn't look at I looked more than the player on the field. I want to know what the player did off the field to become successful. That's what I looked at the most. And hearing these stories, now like you guys have a platform here that you bring people on like myself to tell their story. This should be an inspiration to anybody who's listening.
Yeah.
Because these are journeys that people went through to become successful. So like I said, it's not about what you see on the field. It's about the work done behind the scenes that got the person where they are today.
Exactly. Thank you.
I think that, Bobby, I think that was perfectly said. It's exactly what Legends on Deck and our podcast is all about. So we appreciate it. And another great episode 64.
Thank you, guys.
Like it.